a bad user, let's say, and if you are a good user or a software developer. So in that particular sense, you are going to see that which kind of permissions, whether you have given the mandatory access control, whether you have given the discretionary access control, where we will discuss those controls in detail because there is a one separate unit about the access control is how exactly the permissions are being set onto the data objects. So some of you may think that why we have covered the operating system or why we have covered the why we have not started from the web applications, what you know, which talk about the OWASP standards, but try to understand this thing very much clearly that OWASP and all those things are really, you know, they are going to run on top of the operating system. So basically, you need to understand at the operating system level what are the permissions set that you are trying to give. Are you working as an administrator user as well? Recently, I got to know that I was reading one particular article about the different kind of attacks, and majority of attacks was actually basically done from the software developers itself. The reason behind that is I need to work from home. I need to not exactly work from home, but I need not to be there for 24 by 7. So if I need not to be there 24 by 7, so if I would like to work from my home in that way, say suppose at 10 o'clock I realize no, I need to finish this particular thing and I need to move ahead tomorrow for the meeting. So let me finish. So I will connect with my office and then I'm going to say, okay, the whatever the connection path I'm using, that particular connection path is available to me only. Why? Because I am aware of how to enter those many of systems. So try to understand. And these are known as a kind of loopholes. What you have created, not exactly the loopholes you can say, but those many of the entries what you have created for you so that while working from the remotely or from the remote place, you will be able to access your application. And that is a part which is actually monitored by the bad user or by the attacker. And this is the way the vulnerability is going to come into the picture. That how many of these kind of loopholes or how many of these kind of doors you keep open so that anyone can make the remote desktop connection to any of the application, and that this is available to you only or this is known to you only. Let's say because of the social engineering you may share with someone, or let's say because of someone else is monitoring your own activity, they are going to say, okay, the time for to exploit this particular door is from 10 p.m. to let's say 10:30 p.m. Why? Because that time you are not working mostly, or by 11 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. Why? Because that time you are not working. So that means it is gating up or it is opening up the vulnerability. So many and many entries you are going to have to enter into your application remotely. So this is named as the backdoor attacks. Just because of you are trying, these are the vulnerability which you have created for your own convenience so that you know you can talk to your software or talk to your product remotely as well. Are you getting all the participants what I'm trying to tell you? So this is a one way by which the vulnerability is introduced by you. So I need to understand the impact of that vulnerability and how I'm going to take care about by the CIA model. That okay, if I'm going to, as a bad user, if I'm going to go through that particular, the product or the software entry point, how, which particular data I can exploit by this particular door. So this is going to give me the clear understanding about the data, the risk which is being associated by exploiting this kind of vulnerability. So that is a major reason why we have started initially with the CIA model, so that you will be able to understand that what is the confidentiality, what is the integrity, what is the availability, and once it is these things are done with the Bella Padula as well as the BIBA model, then the Clark-Wilson model also we have discussed. And now, according to your OBE or according to your session plan, I am going to show you how exactly there are various kinds of attacks to breach the confidentiality. So let me share some of the, just hold on, let me share some of the, the case studies, just hold on. Mm. Okay, so just hold on. Yeah. So I'm trying to share some of the case study which is actually there into the, yeah, hold on, and it is quite interesting. And that was a major motive of the, with the different versions of the Red Hat as well, or the 8th version of the Red Hat as well. But I won't go into the detail of that. I will show you the vulnerability of the case study of the vulnerability. Just hold on. Let me share the screen. I believe the screen is visible. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now just look at. It is a different kind of case study. The description is the flaw was found in letting the way it handles the amount of data it compresses and decompresses. So compression and decompression codecs should enforce memory allocation size limit to avoid any of the out of memory error or exhaustion of the memory pool. Now, this particular thing, the statement of it is with respect to the cloud they have created, or this is a platform. OpenShift is a platform as well as the container as a service. So what the description of it, that whenever the compression as well as the decompression is going to happen, it shouldn't go out of the memory. Let me tell you the reason why it could go out of the memory. Whenever you do the compression or the decompression, for the compression, entire data should be there into the main memory. Whatever the compression you need to make. Or if the data is not able to fit into the memory, what the operating system does, operating system is going to create the small chunks of the entire data, and then it is going to individually compress that particular data. And suppose if this is not going to happen, so for sure you are going to reach out of the memory, because entire operation is going to be there on the main memory. Same way the decompression is also going to happen, because decompression means what? The entire main memory is getting allocated. So because the data must be available, data is getting decompressed. So if the data is getting decompressed, so what do you mean by that? So
What
here,
is
the
this
main
have to be
memory,
done?
yes, hello. Here, the
Yes.
main memory requirement is going to be for the decompression data, for the decompression is going to be moved. Are you getting me? All the participants? Hello? Hello? Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you explain it again?
Hello?
Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yeah. Is there any question?
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, why do we need to decompress and compress data? Why can't
Okay,
we just like,
fine.
okay,
Let's talk about this particular thing. Do you do the zip or unzip?
okay, maybe I
Yeah.
can understand it with that analogy, like,
Yeah. So zip means what? Compression. And
yeah,
unzip means
like,
what? Decompression. Right?
yes,
So everything, whichever the way you would like to move ahead, every operation
okay,
requires the main memory. Right? And that
okay.
particular requirement of the main, operation for the main memory is going to decide whether the system is going to be there or the system is going to run out of the main memory.
So like just like zip folders, like it becomes faster to move it from one place to another, even data has to be
See, even
moved
no, no, no,
faster.
no. See, try to understand this particular thing that whatever the operation you are doing, even if you do the file read and file write, whatever the operation you are doing, you are getting it done through the main memory, isn't it? It is as simple as that. Whatever the operation you do, and for that particular operation, if the allocated space is quite less, so naturally that operation will fail. As simple as that. Are you getting me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if the allocated spaces, so this is a kind of vulnerability which is being exploited, which is being described and made available public on January 31st, 2020, which is named as CBE 2020-11612. This is a vulnerability number or the identity. So what exactly this kind of things are going to happen because of whatever the coding things, whatever you have done, whatever the space you have allocated for the compression as well as the decompression, that particular space is quite less. And when that space is quite less, so naturally you are going to move or naturally you will go out of the main memory error. Fine. Yeah. Let me show you one more case study. So this, link you can take care about. Just hold on. Let me share the link on the chat window so that it will be with you. So this is typically with the out of bound memory error. Let me show you the, so this when you say out of bound memory error, so that means basically you are going to deal with the availability. So availability is going to go. Let me go with respect to the integrity or any other. Yeah. Just hold on. So these are the different kind of, or let me talk about Microsoft. Yeah. So see here, this is a very different kind of, let me share the screen with you. This is the document from the Microsoft, what I'm trying to share with you. Yeah. Let me share the screen. I hope my screen is visible to you. So this is the link which is being given that Microsoft legal compliances with respect to the integrity. I hope this particular thing is visible to you. And now, just hold on. Yeah. So these are the different kind of compliances and the ethics. Just look at. compliances program, the culture of trust, the anti-corruption and anti-bribery, licensing term, diversity. So try to understand this particular thing. We always say that vulnerability cannot be eliminated. We always take care about that the risk is nothing but the vulnerability into multiplied by the threats. So threats cannot be eliminated at all. So ultimately, we need to decide that how much risk we can take, how much data confidentiality, breach in the confidentiality we can afford, how much breach in the integrity we can afford. Based on that, the risk as well as the vulnerability is going to be calculated, and after that, the pen testing is going to come. So please do take care about this thing. Whenever we say that, okay, our system is 100% secure, or we do have the 0% vulnerability. No, it never happens. It never happens because our systems are quite complex and we really do not know. And because of, the loosely coupled architecture for each and every component, our systems are quite complex, so somewhere it is going to open up some particular thread which is responsible to take care about the exploitation of your functionality. And that's what the vulnerability is. So here, whenever we say the trust building as well as the associated risk needs to be captured before we take care about mitigating the vulnerabilities. Right? So let me share one more screen with you. So just take a note. Let me show you one more thing. I do not know whether you are aware of this or not. Just hold on for a second. So now let me show you one more security update via the Microsoft. Fine. And let me just hold on. Let me share the screen with you. Okay. So this is a security update. Microsoft Teams remote code execution vulnerability. This particular vulnerability is being released on November 10, 2020 and last update on November 12, 2020. Just look at how exactly the things are. So attack complexity is low, privilege required none, user interaction required yes. So this particular vulnerability is reported and the following, the exploitability assessment is publicly disclosed, no exploited, no. So this is just the vulnerability which is being actually, notified or being published, released on November 10, 2020. Fine. Remote code execution vulnerability. So let me see, let me take care about this particular vulnerability again to understand more into the details. So we will discuss the CVE, but let me show you some more vulnerabilities. Different kind of documents are there. Let me share again. So let me share the nast.gov, which is being, vulnerability database. Just look at insufficient information is being given. So there are the different kinds. So this is a patch. Just look at this is a patch which is being given. So this particular vulnerability is reported inside the Microsoft Teams to take care about the remote code or the vulnerabilities about the remote code execution. So please understand this particular thing, what I'm trying to tell you. Why I have opened some of the vulnerabilities or some of the case studies are the only reason behind it is the way you code, the way your operating system is going to work on, the way exactly how the user is going to be interacted. So in the last semester also we have discussed some of the black box or the white box testing. So I do not want to go into the detail of those testing methodology, but I need you to understand that how exactly the things are supposed to move on if not coded correctly. So let me show you some of the vulnerabilities of Moodle, let's say, which have reported, and they have very nicely, they have given the complete information about. So let me share the screen and let me share the link as well. See here. I hope my screen is visible to you. Fine. And let me share this particular screen, link with you as well. So some of the vulnerabilities, what is the vulnerability here? What exactly they have? Flaw was found in model before this versions. The teachers in the assignment group could modify the group overrides from other group in the same assignment. Users with the permission to delete entries from glossary were able to delete entries from other glossaries as well. See the permission issues. Flaw was there in the Moodle version this that web service fetching messages was not restricted to the current user's conversation. So these are the different kind of, so every system is going to have, like Moodle is there, some the other you can say the let's talk about other products are also there which are having the vulnerability reported and they have listed over here. This is a common vulnerability database. So just take care about, so to have more and more understanding
But
about,
would it be not dangerous if the vulnerabilities are stated?
it
They
is
should be off.
getting patched. So that's what I'm trying to say. See, this is getting patched. It is quite dangerous, but it is really risky. So as a software developer, this is your important responsibility, that how are you taking care about the permissions. So those are the things, and because of this only, see, they have published on this particular date, and because of that particular thing only, it is really required you to understand how exactly you are trying to code any of the any of the product. Are you getting my discussion, what I'm trying to tell you? Hello, am I audible to you, all of you? Hello.
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Yeah. So entire responsibility is with the software developers. Entire responsibility is with the system administrators. Entire responsibility is the way the application is being deployed. So that is the major thing why you need to have the secure software engineering. The way you are going to code. And that is the major objective why initially I have given the take you to understand how you can have the permissions. The permissions are with respect to the subjects as well as the objects. The permissions are with respect to the way by which we are supposed to move with respect to the required accessibility. There are two principles as we have discussed as well. The principal need to know. We have discussed this thing, the least privileges. How many permissions you are supposed to give. And if that particular employee is leaving the company, and if I do not give or I do not reset the permission or I do not block that employee account, that employee is still able to log into my system, which is not supposed to. So as a system administrator or as an IT administrator, it's my responsibility that as soon as the employee leaves the company, I should disable the account. Otherwise, this is one more vulnerability you are opening in because you have not taken care about your own infrastructure. Are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? So I have given the reference for each and everything that so the agenda for this particular course or agenda is to understand this particular course is to make sure that how you can code or what are the precautions you need to take while developing your code or while deploying your code or while working remotely. Are you getting all the participants? Are you with me? These the things are really go in a very different way, in a very different shape. If you really do not, or if you just have the lenient attitude, fine, I just, the employer left the company. I do not just revoke the permission. Maybe in a day or two, I will revoke the permission. But who knows that what is going to happen in a day or two? Are you getting? So these are the, understanding. Or if the employer is supposed to say, okay, there are 10 different employees, and for those 10 different employees, I'm supposed to give the, or some of the employees I need to give the read write permissions, some of the employees I need to give the read write execute permission. I'm very tired to see the different kind of combinations of permission requirements. So what I have done, as a system administrator, okay, for half an hour, for those 10 employees, I have given the read, write, execute permissions for one particular object. This is my lenient attitude. As a system administrator, I must not be doing that. Are you getting what I am trying to say? If you are using the pointers, if you are using the array, arrays may give you the buffer overflow or the way to get the buffer overflow attacks. Are you getting all the participants what I'm trying to tell you? So please do take care about ultimately it's a way by which you are coding. Ultimately is a way by which you are maintaining your system. Ultimately it's a way by which you are handling your system, handling the permissions. Let me give you one particular example. Fine. I was the instructor for MSc SS 2 years back, and we were doing about the Linux server essentials, right? And that time I asked them to build up the NFS server, the network file share server, and that particular NFS server is going to run on to some typical port, and that port needs to be taken care by. So the other participant or other student, they have protected the port with the different kind of firewalls and whatever the things are, but still the student who is sitting on the other terminal was able to open the port. Now let me tell you how exactly was able, and this is just a casual behavior. This is the vulnerability which is being introduced by the other participant, not by the bad student. Why? Because the other student who is an attacker or who is a, let's say, bad user, who is going to do the get the control of that particular system by the SSH. Now if you would like to have the NFS, so you need to have those many of permissions, and permissions cannot be set by the normal user. So even if he does the SSH by the normal user, cannot have the root permissions. But as a normal user, he was able to guess that where exactly those SSH keys are being stored. And as soon as you are going to get the SSH keys, you can work as a root, you can connect as a SSH as a root user. Why? Because the keys are available to you. And after that, you can access the NFS. So try to understand the bad user or non-legitimate user is always taking care about what is the loophole you are introducing into your system. With respect to the operating system, with respect to the network, and then only the application comes into the picture. Because the operating system doesn't do anything. Operating system is really nice until unless it is vulnerable to the rootkit kind of attacks. So what are the rootkit attacks? We will discuss after some time, but those are the things what you need to take care about. Any question? So go to the CVE database. There are many different kind of vulnerabilities which are being reported. Just try into each and every product. It's a big, huge CVE database. You will be get to know how exactly what are the ways by which you need to program your code. Fine, all the participants. Hello. And just take care about do the small kind of exercises with the Linux system or Windows system, whichever the way you would like to be. Because as a, even if you are an auditor, even if you are working as an auditor, you must be aware of at what particular system files I need to look for this kind of vulnerabilities. Because I'm going to say, okay, the operating system, sorry, the application do not have any kind of vulnerability. But how do I understand how the application is interacting with the operating system until unless I know the operating system? So whichever the way you would like to, you are familiar with the Windows, go for it. You're familiar with the Linux, go for it. But you need to understand the permissions. You need to understand the way by which the applications are accessing the operating system. You need to understand the way by which the data is getting transmitted from one page to other page. And that's how the things are. Fine, all the participants. So these are the very, very less case studies what we have discussed. And now we are going to take care about the secure programming practices. Is there any doubt? Hello? Is there any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So now a very small question to you. The question is, what are the things you are taking care about while designing a web page or while writing a program so that you will not run out of the main memory? You must have done with the Java, or Java you must be doing right now, I just do not know. But in the Java you are doing the garbage collect. There is a background process which is named as the garbage collector. Do you rely on that? Yeah, in Java there is a process which is named as a garbage collector. Are you aware of that? Hello? Are you aware of Java garbage collection?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, what does it do?
I think the garbage collection, it deallocates like the memory. Like
Mm-hmm.
supposing that's why when you use constructors, you don't have to use destructors because I
Mm-hmm.
mean
Okay,
the Java garbage collection takes care of it. I mean,
fine.
many older languages you had to use the destructor command also, but now I think in recent versions they also have added some garbage collection. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure what like I'm aware of bits and pieces of what it does. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, not the whole thing.
Do you think so that this process is going to be executed always?
Uh, there could be
When the
sometimes
process is going to be executed?
it will be executed only when the maybe like the programmer has not used has not specifically said to
For how
deallocate the
long,
memory.
let's say, a variable you have declared in the Java? Fine. A variable you have declared in the Java, for how long you think so that variable is going to be declared?
Like maybe as long as the program needs it. Once the program doesn't need it, or if you're doing a function call and after the function is finished executing, then you don't need this memory. So
So
then
it,
after that,
okay, so it means that my garbage collector process must be running immediately.
maybe I don't know how it works, but it could be.
Exactly. So let me tell you. My garbage collector is a process which is a background process. Fine. And the background process is always going to have the low priority. Please understand this particular thing. The background process is always going to have the low priority, and because of that particular low priority, you really do not know when that particular process is going to be executed. When you really do not know that when that particular process is going to be executed, and you are just allocating the main memory or allocating the storage space, let's say in the physical memory, so in that particular sense your requirement may go, or you may require more amount of memory. Why? Because the memory release or the storage space release hasn't taken place, because garbage collection process did not execute. And this is kind of thing, it really happens whenever you do the database programming, whenever you are working as an ETL developer. ETL is, you must have learned the data warehousing, I do not know, but you must have learned the data warehousing, where you know the extraction, transformation, as well as the loading takes place. So entire thing is going to be available inside the main memory. If you are not going to release it, so for sure you are going to get the out of bound error. So that is the major thing why we say, even if the garbage collection is there, please deallocate your variable explicitly. Are you getting all the participants? Please deallocate your variable explicitly so that the memory is going to be available for the next requirement. Are you getting my discussion? All the participants, come on, feel free to suggest me. If you are not getting, you can always suggest me. Hello, hello, are you with me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Any question? Any question, feel free to ask me. Fine. Now, sometimes we say, are you aware of the are you aware of the theory which says default deny for your system? What does that mean? I'm just taking the example. In the next session, we are going to go into the detail of that. What do you mean by default deny? Have you heard the term default
I've
deny?
never heard of this. Where is
Okay.
it like?
Okay, Dale hasn't heard. Anyone else? Have you heard the term default deny? Yes? Fine. Okay, so what exactly the system is going to do? System is going to accept
Ma'am,
every. Yes.
default deny, is it like, I don't know, is it something related to a browser, like where you allow certain tasks and
Okay.
deny it by default? It's
Okay.
similar to that.
Yeah, it is quite similar, Del. So let me tell you, whenever any application process your request, do not design an application in such a way that application is never going to accept the request for anyone. Are you getting my point? Default deny. Design an application in such a way that application is never going to accept any request for anyone. And slow, so we will discuss in a very detailed manner, you can say in the upcoming lectures, but this is just the crisp what I am telling you. So whenever your application is going to accept some request, so you need to specifically give the permission to the application or to the in the application for acceptance of that request. So what did you do? You closed all the ports of an application and you just open a single port. When you just open a single port, so it will be easier for you to monitor it. When you open, if you say you keep default accept. So what do you mean by the default accept? Default accept means what? You accept each and every request. And as a, you can say monitoring agent or as a system administrator, you really do not know that which particular request is exploiting a vulnerability onto your system. So that is whenever you do the programming, you please do this particular thing, have it default deny. So when you have default deny, so it will be very easier for you to understand where exactly the problem is. So that is the one thing what you need to take care about while working with the secure programming practices. And then we will discuss in very detailed manner that what exactly the secure programming practices is. But you need to understand the default deny is one of the principle to take care about. You need to understand, you need to model the threats. You need to take care about how exactly different kind of permissions or different kind of ports are opening into. We'll discuss in detail and just make sure next time whenever we are going to say the secure coding practices. So I need to understand with respect to your dissertation project that where you are trying to validate the input. Where you are saying in the last semester also we have discussed about the boundary value conditions and lots of different kind of black box and the white box testing. So you need to understand two things, how exactly the input is getting validated. This is the thing what you need to understand. So yesterday I was going through some of the questions of the input validations. And one of the question was, when you take care about the password validation, what should be the, how much it's easy to crack a password? The password is a mix of, let's say special characters, numbers, digits, sorry, numbers, letters, or is the password length? Who is going to take care about from 16 to, let's say 20? Or the password is encrypted, or you know the hash by which the password is encrypted. So how it is going to be easy, or how it is going to take care about how much it's easy to crack the password. So this is taken care by your input validation. How exactly you are validating the input when user is entering the UID or the username as well as the password. The next thing we need to discuss is, I do not know, I do not exactly remember whether we have discussed this or not. When you take care about the identity management, for example, the username and the password, you need to have one is identity, one is authentication, one is authorization, one is accounting, and one is auditing. So when you go with respect to this I and 5 times A, so you need to understand that whenever you give, okay, password, then I need to provide as a software developer the multi-factor authentication, or let's say two-factor authentication. So if the two-factor authentication is going to be done with, say, password or with say OTP or with password or with my retina scan, with password or with my, let's talk about fingerprint. These are also the things what we need to discuss. So ultimately, it's your role as a software developer how you are validating the input. Understood? All the participants. So the next session, we are going to start with the secure software engineering practices. And the first thing what we need to understand is a risk and how to take care about and the software architecture for it. Fine, all the participants? Okay?
Yes.
Yeah? Any other question? Suggest me something. I do not know. Many of you are quite new to me. Many of you are aware of the way I deliver, though you can always give me the suggestions. I will stop sharing my screen. If you would like to give me, you can always give me the suggestion. Is everything good? You would like to give me any suggestion? Hello? Please let me know. I will be happy to mold myself in that way. Hello? I believe I am audible to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Any suggestions?
No, ma'am.
So let me take the attendance right now. Yeah, attendance please. PRN 8.
Present, ma'am.
9, 15,
Present, ma'am.
18, 19, 19, 20, 24,
Present, ma'am.
29, 29.
Yes, ma'am, 29. Hello.
Yeah, 36,
Present, ma'am.
37, 37, 38,
38.
39.
Present, ma'am.
Okay, Himesh. 40, 40, 44,
Present, ma'am. 44.
47. Ashwin. 51,
Present, ma'am.
53,
53 present, ma'am.
57.
Present, ma'am.
Ma'am,
57.
47 I missed. Sorry.
Yeah. 61, 64. Thank you,
Ma'am,
Abhi.
ma'am, 19 present. My mic was
Yeah.
not working.
64, 72, 72, 73,
73 present, ma'am.
74,
Present, ma'am.
70, 80,
80 present, ma'am.
84, 86,
86 present, ma'am.
87,
Present, ma'am.
89, 93, 96,
96 present, ma'am.
103,
Present,
104,
ma'am.
104, Ahmad, 105, 107,
104, ma'am.
yeah, 107, Del, 109, fine. All the best, and please feel free to give me the suggestions. You are really welcome to give me the suggestions. Fine. Not a problem. All the best to all of you, Avi. I have marked your attendance. Fine. Stay healthy and stay
Thank you,
safe.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes.